Hi, I'm Mark Brosens. I'm a producer with The Agenda with Steve Paikin on TVO, and today I'm joined by Jacob Mantle. He is the outgoing Ward 4 councillor in Uxbridge, Ontario, and thanks for joining us, Jacob.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mark.
It's great to have you here. So for people who don't know, 4 years ago, you got elected to Uxbridge Municipal Council. And
Correct.
at the time, you're 21 years old, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario said that made you the youngest elected municipal politician in Ontario. So, you ran out your term, and you decided at the end of the term that you weren't going to run again for municipal office. You weren't going to seek re-election. Why didn't you run for re-election?
Oh, that's a tough question, Mark, and it's definitely a bittersweet answer that I had to give to Uxbridge. The past 4 years have been a pleasure, and it's really an honor to serve, and it's something unique to have people, put their trust in you and Mark, put the X beside your name on the ballot. So that's something I'm forever grateful for and forever thankful for. Um, But it was a tough decision. This past year, I've had a lot of changes happen personally. I got married. I entered my second year of law school at Queen's. So it just I wanted to put my family and my future first. And one of the unfortunate things I think about kind of municipal politics, especially in the smaller and medium-sized communities across Ontario, it's not just Uxbridge but endemic across Ontario, is it's hard to make a living and support a family by being a counselor. And unfortunately, it was a tough choice, but I think the right one for me right now is to put my family first. So.
What I find interesting about that is for a lot of politicians, it kind of goes with the territory that once you get elected to office, everything else falls away. Politics becomes your life, and you have clearly taken a different path. So I'm wondering, do you think that's saying something about changing perceptions of work-life balance?
I think it does. I mean, the way I like to describe being in politics is it's not a job, it's a lifestyle, and that's really been played out in my term. I mean, you'll be in the grocery store and someone will stop you and talk to you about an issue. You'll be walking the dog and someone will talk to you about an issue, and that comes with the territory, like you said. And I'll continue to be involved in my community after my 4 years. I was before, and I will stay. But I think that, yeah, I mean, a lot of times, politicians don't get the credit they deserve, and I've known a lot of great municipal councillors who put in their all and work harder than any MPP or MP I've ever seen, and I've worked for a few of them. And there's not a lot of, I guess there's not a lot of gratitude given or compensation for it, and so, yeah, I think if you're trying to attract younger people or people who have skills that you want to attract to local government, you need to entice them to be there. And of course, everyone's there because they love their community, for sure. But that's not the only thing they love. They also love their kids and their families. And you can't ask them to make a choice between that because the family's always going to win.
So why'd you run for politics in the first place?
That's a good question. Again, it's a bit of a story behind that. Growing up, politics was always kind of a dinner table discussion topic in my family. I had a father who was kind of on the business side as a corporate executive, and then my mom as a school teacher. So kind of got both sides of the political spectrum at the dinner table, which made for interesting conversation. So that kind of made me politically aware. And then when I got to university, that's when I got a chance to be involved, and I joined student government. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it because the people were there because they were passionate about something. It wasn't naked ambition. It was they wanted to make a difference in the school community, and that attracted me to those people. So I knew I liked the environment. And then when I finished school, it was partially good timing. I graduated in the fall of 2010, and the municipal election was I graduated in the spring, and the municipal election was in the fall. So I decided, well, I've enjoyed being in politics so far, and I think I've done a good job, so why not try it in the real world? So I spent the next 4 months knocking on doors, going to community events, and doing as much as I could to be a professional candidate in the election, and I think I was rewarded for that.
A lot of people who are watching this, and probably a lot of people who you knocked on their doors when you ran, were probably wondering, what does a 21-year-old know about government and how it works? And so now that you're walking away from it, I hope you can give us an honest answer. Do you think you were ready at 21 to be a municipal councillor?
I think I think I had the skills to be ready. I won't say that I certainly didn't have as much knowledge or experience as a lot of my competitors, which ranged in age from 40 to 70 during my election. But was I ready? Yeah, I was. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, and I prepared for it. I certainly wasn't prepared for the learning curve that came after getting elected, but that's going to be the case whether you're a 40-year-old businessman, or whatever the case may be. Unless you've been in municipal government, it's a different ballgame. So I think I was ready, but I had some skills to make me ready, which was be prepared, be professional, do your homework. And I think anybody can do that.
So over the next little bit, I'm hoping to interview a bunch of other recently elected young municipal politicians from across the province. And so I think they would really like to hear some advice from you now that you've gone through your first term about what you learned. So could you give some advice to those people?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, first I'd say congratulations to them. We need more young people like them in politics. So good luck. First of all, enjoy your 4 years. I mean, it'll go by quick. I can't believe it's already over. I thought 4 years would be an eternity when I got elected, but it flies by. So enjoy it. I would say that you need to be cognizant of the fact that you are young. So some people are not going to give you the respect or attention that your office demands. So you need to come in there being twice as prepared and being twice as professional as all your colleagues. And I think you need to know that going in. But that's not a bad thing, because you want to know, case may be. So I think being understanding what you're getting into and being prepared and being professional is the best advice I can give to new candidates. And rely on your colleagues. Many of them in municipal politics have been there for many years and have a lot of experience. The same goes with staff. Rely on your colleagues and staff. But also be sure, I would say, to get outside opinions, because sometimes you get absorbed in a little bit of a bubble in smaller municipalities, and I'm sure in many municipalities. So if you're talking about a business issue, go pick up the phone and call your local business and ask them what they think it's going to do to their business, the change that you're talking about or the bylaw you're discussing. You know what? They'll be happy you called, and you'll get a better answer from them. So yeah, those are a few things I'd advise.
You started that by saying that we need more young people in politics. Why do you think that's the case?
I think that's the case because first of all, I think democracy in general is better served when we have a more representative legislature. And for example, in my municipality, I was 21 when I was elected. The next closest person in age to me was 50. So it's not just young people that are in politics. Sometimes it's a whole swath of the electorate. From young professionals just starting out to people with young families, to people who are having their kids leave, so to university or whatever the case may be. So I think we need more young people because it's simply more representative of our communities, and we need young people because they're more up to date on what the changing technologies and things that are going on in the world, and frankly some of the older councillors are not. And that's not a knock against them. That's just different people bring different skills. So I think you have a better council when you have people with different skills that can bring a few things to the table. And I think youth is a skill that should be recognized to be brought to the table.
So just finally, most politicians, they end their careers by getting elected to whatever office they get elected to. Most of them don't start their careers by getting elected to office. So do you think going back into politics is something you'll consider down, or what do you do from here?
Well, what I do from here is finish law school and pay off my student loans. But after that, I've always loved politics and I've always been involved. So it will always remain a hobby of mine. I was involved in my community before I got on council, and I will be involved on it when I'm no longer a councillor. So I'll certainly leave the door open to a comeback at some point in the future.
Well, we'll keep our eye out for that. Thank you very much, Jacob. That's Jacob Mantle. He is the outgoing Ward 4 councillor in Uxbridge, Ontario.
Thanks very much, Mark.